Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the celebration of the launch of GOALI. My name is Rochelle Van Snellenberg. I am the program manager of GOALI and the head of the ILO library. Today, we are here in the library of the International Labour Organization in Geneva, thanks to the hard work and commitment of our partners, the Research for Life, Brill Publishers, Cornell and Yale Universities, the ITC ILO, and the ILO. This launch is being live streamed so that our partners around the world can follow us. Greetings now to our colleagues at the Lillian Goldman Law Library at Yale University, to our colleagues at Cornell Law School Library, and to all the other Research for Life partners and interested parties around the world. GOALI is a partnership between the ILO, academic publishers, and Cornell and Yale universities that will give users in more than 115 developing countries access to a wide range of legal information, including peer-reviewed journals, books, databases, and reference materials. Researchers, students, librarians, policymakers, judges, and legal experts will all benefit through their institutional membership. Our speakers here today will tell you more about GOALI, so let's get started. Let me introduce our first speaker, ILO Deputy Director General for Policy, Deborah Greenfield. Deborah Greenfield leads the ILO's policy, research, and statistical work across the range of labor and employment issues. And she's currently leading the Future of Work Centenary Initiative, cultivating a global dialogue on the future of work to build the ILO's ability to prepare and guide governments, workers, and employers to better meet the world of work challenges of the next century. Deborah, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Rochelle. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the ILO and to the launch of GOALI. And I particularly want to welcome our guests who have come from outside the ILO and have traveled quite a distance to be here with us. I'm really delighted to be at the launch of GOALI this afternoon and to have the opportunity to explain a little bit about GOALI and why it's so important to the ILO. So let me begin just by asking, what is GOALI and why is it necessary? Well, many of us take access to information of all kinds for granted. We know it's there, and sometimes we even complain that there's too much of it. But researchers and practitioners in low-income countries often struggle to find reliable information and to have access to it on a continuing basis. And we all know that for lawyers, for students, for professors, to carry out quality research, they need access to a full range of materials that's kept up to date pretty much on a 24/7 basis. They need not only the publicly available statutes, but also jurisprudence, scholarly articles, commentary, textbooks, journals, and of course, case law. And not all information is freely given. Legislation in many countries is considered part of common heritage and freely available, but secondary literature is different. It's not always freely available. And even where information is available, users may not be aware of how to find and use it. And there are very few universities or not-for-profit organizations, and even tripartite constituents that have sufficient funds to purchase and maintain up-to-date content that's peer-reviewed. A strength of the Research for Life program, which is sponsoring GOALI, is that the partners understand the importance of training and the effective promotion of services. Without proper training and follow-up, many excellent web resources are either underutilized, utilized incorrectly, or not used at all. In addition, our partners at the Turin Center are uniquely positioned to raise awareness of the information that's available in GOALI and to offer capacity building to our tripartite constituents. The Research for Life partners are committed to providing long-term training to librarians and to a range of information specialists on how to locate, use, and manage information resources. This capacity building, of course, will have long-lasting benefits for the students who participate because they will learn how to conduct better research, distinguish between reliable and less reliable information, and also improve their legal writing skills as they become practitioners. Now, why is the International Labor Organization involved in GOALI as closely as it is? I think the answer is pretty simple, and that's because we all know promotion of social justice, achieving social justice, as well as establishing inclusive and peaceful societies lies at the heart of the ILO mandate. GOALI is going to support the ILO's work in achieving our mandate, as well as in achieving the Sustainable Development Goals, in particular Goal 16 on peace, justice, and strong organizations, strong institutions. GOALI is going to help the ILO empower our constituents in low-income countries by delivering access to academic, peer-reviewed information available in advanced economies. So in essence, we believe that access to accurate information is a hallmark of democracy. It's a foundation for human rights, and that's why we're so delighted to be able to be so involved in launching GOALI. Now, the next question, perhaps it's obvious after this, is who is going to benefit from GOALI? Well, Research for Life programs benefit governments, universities, research institutions, and other publicly funded not-for-profit organizations in most low and middle income countries. And so we're going to be targeting those countries as we partner with Research for Life. GOALI is going to bring new participation from ministries of labor, for example, from Social Security and justice agencies, as well as from national courts and public defenders. As a tripartite agency, the ILO is going to bring together, as we do now, governments, employers, and workers' representatives, arming them with better information than they have had access to, so that they can really engage in the kind of tripartite social dialogue that is so important to achieving social justice and decent work. Now, who's going to do what in making this work? Who are our partners here? We at the ILO are going to maintain the GOALI web portal, including the front-end website, and manage the technical setup and registration of new institutions. We're going to partner with WHO, FAO, WIPO, and UNEP on the help desk activities. And we're going to take the lead in coordinating GOALI activities. Cornell University will manage the training and the outreach services. And the training and outreach team of the Cornell Law Library will provide appropriate support in the use of online resources through the development of web-based training and informational guides. Yale University is going to manage the publisher relations, including by obtaining the necessary permissions for the purposes of the GOALI web portal and the selection of resources, as well as the addition and description of content to keep the information up to date. Brill Nijhoff is the initiator of GOALI, founding publishing partner, and is coordinating with Yale on publisher relations. So we're delighted to have so many qualified partners, really esteemed institutions and individuals in making GOALI a reality. And finally, I want to thank Rochelle von Snellenberg from the ILO for spearheading this work from our side. It's very important, and this is a great milestone today. Thank you.
Thank you, Deborah. I think that summed up quite nicely the work that we're doing with GOALI and why the ILO is involved. Now I'd like to introduce the partners with GOALI, starting with the publishers. Richard Getty is former chair of Research for Life and responsible for Research for Life Publisher Liaison. He will be speaking with Lisbeth Canis, Managing Director, Brill Asia, responsible for Brill's Developing Countries program. Lisbeth is in fact the initiator of GOALI, having first presented the idea of a Research for Life program on law back in 2013. Richard, the floor is yours.
Thank you for that introduction, Rochelle. Indeed, I've been involved with Research for Life in a fairly full-time capacity for the last 7 years. And before that, an important part of my work at Oxford University Press was involved with the work of Research for Life since it launched in 2002 with its first programme on medical research, HINARI. The rationale behind the launch of HINARI was twofold. Firstly, research at the time by the World Health Organization revealed that in the developing world, the number one challenge for medical researchers and practitioners was that their institutions lacked the budgetary funding to pay for subscriptions to critical research journals. At the same time, there was a growing realization by medical publishers that this was a point in 2002 when just about every major medical journal had completed its transition from print to online availability. And this carried the potential to make a significantly wider distribution of journal content a lot more feasible. And thus, HINARI was born, the first programme in the public-private initiative, which a few years later was renamed or was named Research for Life as it launched further research access programmes for the LMIC world in agriculture, environmental science and technological innovation. So our mission as an initiative was and is to reduce the knowledge gap between industrialised countries and LMICs by providing free or very low cost access to published scientific research. In those years since 2002, we've increased the amount of material that we've been able to provide to researchers and practitioners. They now have access to the content of something like 19,000 journals, 62,000 books, about 130 other information resources. And this content is now made available in over 8,000 institutions in over 100 lower and middle income countries worldwide. Over that period of time, since launch in 2002, it's given us huge pleasure and satisfaction to see the impact that our collective endeavours have created. We've helped researchers to develop better and more informed scientific writing skills. We've helped them produce focused research and up-to-date research that they can discuss with top researchers worldwide. And we've allowed them to compete more effectively for research funding, as well as deliver better teaching programs. We've also been able to provide information that's allowed doctors to drastically improve the treatments which they've offered to patients, and also allowed farmers to improve the quality and effectiveness of their agricultural outputs and processes. In short, our efforts have provided significant economic and social benefits for individuals, for communities, and I guess indeed whole countries. So now I'm delighted to hand over to my good friend and colleague Lisbeth Canis from Brill, who's going to share with us how Research for Life's newest programme, which as we all know is being launched today, will complement and supplement the benefits which published content can bring to the communities we serve by helping to ensure that these economic and social benefits are supported by the rule of law and the maintenance of basic human rights. So over to you, Lisbeth.
Thank you, Richard. I'm delighted to be here with you at this festive launch of GOALI. The road has been long and winding, as many of you can attest to, but the view is absolutely worth it, like a Swiss mountain. I would like to talk about the publisher's contribution and commitment to GOALI, and also Brill's role in initiating this program. There are currently 185 publishers and societies participating in Research for Life, and they are actively and generously contributing their content free of charge. To date, over 60 publishers are involved in contributing over 10,000 legal resources to GOALI. And hopefully after today, many more will join. We have had new publishers join, and already existing participating publishers adding their legal content. I would like to thank each single one of them for their support and their generous contribution and commitment to GOALI. So if they are tuned in through the live stream video, thank to you and your colleagues and your companies. Like with many other things in life, GOALI started as an idea with a vision. In 2013, I came back to the publishing industry after working in Tanzania as an academic publishing and research advisor for 2 years. Coming back, I felt a strong drive to make a contribution in a sustainable way, especially after I had seen firsthand the challenges academics, NGOs and policymakers face in a development context. But also the impact of poverty and social injustice and the lack of access to justice.
The goal of Research for Life is to reduce the knowledge gap between high-income countries and low- and middle-income countries through the provision of affordable access to scholarly research. The Research for Life partnership is based entirely on goodwill. As the current chair of the Research for Life Executive Council, it gives me great pleasure to see that goodwill expanding through the launch of GOALI and the welcoming of the ILO, the law libraries at Cornell and Yale University, and all the new partners to Research for Life.
In 2014, Daniel shared with me Lisbeth Canis's idea and Research for Life support for a new 5th program in the Research for Life platform. This new program would provide licensed legal content to low and middle income countries around the globe. I was immediately sold on the idea. And today, thanks to the contributions of the ILO, as well as Lisbeth and teams of law librarians at Cornell and Yale, we are finally seeing GOALI come to fruition. The GOALI team here at Yale has been working directly with publishers to provide access to their online legal content. GOALI users today have access to over 10,000 legal titles, both law journals as well as ebooks, in a vast array of legal subjects. From over 60 publishers, many of these publishers have been providing content to Research for Life for many years, but others, such as Edward Elgar and Justice, are new to the Research for Life family. We will continue to work steadily to add publishing partners and additional content in the weeks, months, and years ahead. We know how fortunate we are here at Yale to have access to a vast array of legal resources. Our hope is that providing access to research material to our colleagues around the globe will aid judges and lawyers, librarians and legal scholars to contribute further and even more deeply to the global body of legal scholarship, to provide even more effective legal representation, and to promote the rule of law and social justice in their communities.
We wish we could be with you in Geneva for the launch of GOALI. But please know that the entire team is gathered here in New Haven, Connecticut, celebrating along with you the launch of this new program.
And I would really recommend that we support it and we embrace it and negotiate within our own circumstances. The other challenge maybe, which has not been mentioned, is that getting information from the West, because I've studied on both platforms, may not address local needs or local policies, but GOALI is just like many platforms. As I wrote, someone was asking, she was stressing the book I published with them, and rightly so, because I published with BRIL, which is Access to Education in Developing Countries. It doesn't address local policies, but that's another problem which only GOALI, no other institution single-handedly can solve. But at least for a moment, they can solve access to technology, information that is put in one portal, and we can start from there. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Susan. Can you pass the microphone on to our next speaker? Yeah, it's okay. I'd like to introduce our next speaker, Lillian Chikwava. Lillian Chikwava is studying for her master's in occupational safety and health at the International Training Center of the ILO. As a medical practitioner in Zimbabwe, Dr. Chikwava has used the Research for Life program Hinari in both her work and studies. So Lillian, can you tell us more about how you got started using Hinari and the impact that it has had on your work and studies?
Okay, thank you. My name is Dr. Lillian Chikwava. I am a medical doctor at Chitungwiza Central Hospital. Chitungwiza is a small town about 35 kilometers out of Harare, and I'm a Hinari user. As I've said, I live in Zimbabwe, a low-income country, and Hinari has given me access to numerous e-books, numerous journals, numerous publications through its site. And I've used these publications initially as an undergraduate student. When I'm researching, you have ward rounds and you want to impress your consultants. So I've been using it since that time. And now, as a young professional, Hinari has actually helped me transform the clinical care that I give to my patients. I'm currently working in a pediatrics ward. The clinical care that I give to my patients, it has transformed to evidence-based care, if I'm allowed to use that word, because I have access to information. I get the access through College of Health Sciences Zimbabwe. That's University of Zimbabwe's medical school. So if I need the information, I know where to get it, and I have everything in just one portal. And I don't have to worry about internet, because it's at the university library. So it's actually, thank you so much. And last year, I did a diploma in occupational health and safety between 2016 and 2017. And I had to do a study. I did a study on the latent TB among healthcare workers at the city of Harare in their health department. And in terms of OSH, Zimbabwe we're still growing. So we don't have data, and where are we? And so it was difficult for me. I wanted to do something in health for self-preservation, and to look for information locally, I could not find any. But then I went to Hinari website, and I was searching to see what's happening in Southern Africa. And I found a lot of research material from neighboring South Africa, and that's the basis that I had for my research. And to summarize everything, knowledge is a powerful tool that transforms society, and access to knowledge is important. So thank you so much, because you've helped transform my small society, slowly but surely. So thank you.
Hello, Ian Roberts, coordinator of the WHO Library. It's not a question, but more a comment that has been highlighted by how you've summarized Research for Life. It is 5 programs under one umbrella name, Research for Life, that is not only helping achieve individually SDGs in health or SDGs for justice, it's also together showing a pure example of how UN partners with publishers and university partners can do the cross-sectoral work, or try to bring together people working on SDGs to go beyond the boundary of their unique SDGs, such as health. So this umbrella name, Research for Life, is really empowering low and middle income countries to go towards the Sustainable Development Goals, not as one unique goal each time, but as a cross-sectoral work that impacts on each different SDG.
Thank you, Ian. Well, if there's no other questions, I'd like to thank everybody for your insights, and thank you very much to the panelists, especially for those of you who traveled to come here. We really appreciate the time that you've taken to be with us today. When we were first approached to consider joining GOALI, it seemed like such a fantastic idea, but really a little bit hard to get your mind around how it would actually happen in reality. It's been a long time, and I just wanted especially to thank our colleagues at Kimberly Parker from the WHO Library, who really helped us and guided us over the last 2 years in the setup, and all the little details about how this would work and how that part would work, and also to the other Research for Life program managers from WIPO, from UNEP, and from FAO have contributed to us getting to this launch today, in particular starting with the Director General's Office, Cabinet, the Legal Advisor, the Development Cooperation Branch, Colleagues and Workers Activities Branch, Bureau, and the Employers Activities Bureau, Department of Communications, who are helping us with the live stream today and helped us with all the social media and launching the website. Information and Technology Management Department, my colleagues over there, and ITC ILO. I can't forget ITC ILO, and our colleagues have come up from Turin today to be with us. So thank you very much. And of course, within the library, I really need to thank my colleague Edith Horvat, who has done all the work with the communications and getting this to where we are today. And thanks also to all the library staff who've helped on this launch, because everybody in the staff helped with us today. So on all of that, I would like to say GOALI is live. Congratulations to everybody, and thank you.